Hello and welcome to the Square Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti, and tonight we are having a review of the 2019 Royal Rumble. Amazing pay-per-view. Great way to start off the road to WrestleMania. We saw Becky Lynch win the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble match. We saw Seth Rollins win the Men's Rumble match, and we saw some great matches in between the shows. We'll get through all the matches, but before we do, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for notifications as we're trying to get to 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling Double or Nothing. On the pre-show, we actually had 3 matches. 2 were advertised and 1 was just put on last minute. I didn't see anything advertised for this first match. It was the Raw Tag Team Champions Bobby Roode and Chad Gable going up against Razor of AOP and Chad Dawson of the Revival. Honestly, I wasn't paying too much attention to this match as I was still getting ready for some things before actually watching the main show of the Royal Rumble match. But I do know that Bobby Roode and Chad Gable did win this match, you know, in a really nothing TV time matchup that we've been seeing a lot of in the tag team division. And I'll be honest, I truly wish that they start investing more in this tag team division. There's a lot of good tag teams on both Raw and SmackDown between the Bar and the New Day and the Usos, we already know, but you also have Sanity, you have AOP, you have the Revival, you have Gallows and Anderson are just doing nothing, absolutely nothing, and I hope this is the last of this really nothingness of the tag team division. We start seeing some things in the future. The next match that was on the pre-show was a very decent 12-minute match between Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. And really the ending is what is going to be part of the storyline further on in this Royal Rumble card. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura was trying to expose a turnbuckle to lay on Rusev, but Lana got up on the apron to confront Nakamura, and in the middle of all this, Rusev tries to attack Nakamura. Nakamura gets out of the way, hits Lana. Lana lands awkwardly and twists her ankle. Now, while Rusev is trying to aid Lana, Nakamura Kinshasa from behind, knocks out Rusev. 1, 2, 3. We have a new United States champion. Now, Lana's ankle injury, we will know the severity of it later on in the Royal Rumble because she is involved in the Women's Royal Rumble match, but more on that later. Our next match on the pre-show, the last pre-show match, was a great pre-show match that featured 4 cruiserweights for the Cruiserweight Championship: Buddy Murphy, Akira Tozawa, Kalisto, and Hideo Itami. All of them had some good spots in this match. A lot of high action, a lot of flips, a lot of flops, you know, the typical cruiserweight type match that a lot of people love and love watching on 205 Live. But we do see Buddy Murphy retain the Cruiserweight Championship. So personally, I think Buddy Murphy should have a really good run with the Cruiserweight Championship. They need a strong champion really since Neville left. Still trying to find their way, and I know 205 Live moved back to Tuesday nights, so, you know, this back and forth thing, it kind of hurts the brand, but as we see more and more of these cruiserweights in pay-per-views and we see Mustafa Ali coming from 205 Live to SmackDown, I think more people get excited, and those subscribers are watching 205 Live more and more. So hopefully eventually we'll see more main card Cruiserweight Championship matches, but this card was so stacked, and we're going to get to it on the main show. Asuka versus Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship. A great match to start the Royal Rumble 2019 main card. And honestly, this was so good because you see submissions and reversals and really good work and ring psychology throughout this match. We saw Asuka put Becky in the disarmer. We saw Becky put Asuka in the Asuka lock, and they were reversing each other's submissions. And this match really ended with a reverse submission chokehold on Becky Lynch, where Becky Lynch tapped clean. And honestly, at first, I thought this wasn't a good move to have Becky Lynch tap out clean. I thought there was going to be some dirty finish to this, some dusty finish where either Charlotte or Ronda Rousey got involved. We didn't see that, and I think it ends up being better because not only do we see Becky Lynch, who could still get into the Rumble, no problem. No worries about that. But Asuka wins clean, beats the former SmackDown Women's Champion, and we don't have that cloud over her head on this title reign. She does beat the champion clean, so in that essence, Asuka can move on and defend the SmackDown Women's title. However, that road to WrestleMania goes for her. Now, our next match was still on SmackDown. We had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which featured The Bar versus Shane McMahon and The Miz. This was another good match, a solid match, probably like a 3.5 out of 5 if I were to do a 5-star rating like Meltzer. But really, there were two big spots in this match that I really, really liked. When Shane McMahon was going coast to coast on Sheamus and Cesaro, Cesaro got up, caught him, and did a swing for about a minute. Really, really long. And then later on, the spot that ended the match was Shane McMahon going for a shooting star press and landing it. I'll be honest with you. I honestly thought that Shane McMahon was going to land on his head, similar to how Brock Lesnar landed on his head in WrestleMania 19. But McMahon was able to land it perfectly, get the pin 1, 2, 3, and we have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions where The Miz and Shane McMahon will win. And I honestly think that they're not going to have the titles for long. They might drop them either at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane due to some miscommunication, and this will lead to their match one-on-one at WrestleMania 35. Moving over now to Raw, where we had an amazing Raw Women's Championship match. I personally think this was the match of the night. Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks. Great storytelling, great psychology throughout this match, where we have Ronda Rousey's armbar and Sasha Banks' bank statement. There was a moment in this match where Ronda Rousey punched the ring post. It broke the LED board, and after that moment, Sasha Banks did an amazing job working that arm injury and working it. And there was one spot where Ronda Rousey was twisted up like a pretzel in her arm. It was going in 4 or 5 different directions, and she really, really sold the hell out of this submission by Sasha Banks. And that's one thing you got to say about Ronda Rousey. You may not like her as an in-ring performer, but she is one hell of a seller in the ring. Probably the best seller in the ring in WWE right now. And I mean, you can make that debate, but I honestly think that's there. And for the first time, I believe, since Ronda Rousey's been in the WWE, Ronda Rousey has won by pinfall. She gave Sasha Banks the Piper's Pit for the pin, 1, 2, 3. And then after this match, we saw them shake hands. We saw them show respect. We had a nice shot of Sasha Banks walking up the walkway and just upset that she lost, but then goes back to Ronda Rousey, shakes hands one more time, and puts up the forefinger. So this whole 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen is getting teased, and it is awesome. I really hope this happens. And I do think it's happening either at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. It would be a great Survivor Series match. So we'll see how this story progresses. Now over to the Women's Royal Rumble match. The story after about entrant number 20 on was really, really good. But this match really, really struggled until we got the big stars in like Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch and Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss and Bayley. I mean, once those guys got into the ring for this Rumble match, it was really hard to watch the first about 40 minutes of this match, I'll be honest with you. But we did get some surprises. Lacey Evans was the number 1 entrant. That was a little bit of a surprise for me. And we had Natalya at number 2. She ended up being the Iron Woman at 55 minutes. Ember Moon had a great showing in this Royal Rumble too, coming out of the 6th spot and going for 53 minutes. We didn't really have a lot of the legend. Actually, we didn't have any legend surprise entrants. We did have a lot of NXT call-ups, and they had some good showings. We had Candice LeRae. We had Casey Catanzaro, who looked amazing in this match and had a very Kofi Kingston-esque save from elimination. She lands on her back with her feet up in the air. Her feet never touch the floor. Then the cameras cut away from her as if she was eliminated. But then the cameras cut back to her and she's up on a handstand, walks up to the ring post, hugs the ring post with her legs, spins up, and saves herself from getting eliminated. It was, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I could not believe what she just did. Totally amazing. One of the best spots of the night. We saw Rhea Ripley from NXT UK come out, and she actually ended up with the second most eliminations of the night with 3, tied with Nia Jax and Ruby Riott. Charlotte Flair got the most eliminations in this match with 5. And our final 4 was one that I predicted in our Royal Rumble's predictions. It was Bayley, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, who comes out at the what would have been the 28th spot. So, and Charlotte Flair finished out the final 4. So Becky Lynch gets into this match because Lana, who was the number 28 entrant, tries to walk up the walkway to enter the Royal Rumble, but her leg is very taped up from her ankle injury in the Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura match in the pre-show. She can't go. So we have 29 and 30 enter. Nia Jax was 29 and Carmella was number 30. So the crowd is awkwardly silent. I did notice that. They were awkwardly silent. And I honestly thought because Carmella was coming in at 30, I thought they were going to skip Lana, and that was it. We weren't going to get Becky Lynch in the Rumble, and I thought people were going to boo like they did in 2014 when Daniel Bryan was not in the Royal Rumble match. Oddly enough, the crowd was much smarter than sometimes we give them credit to be, and they knew that Becky Lynch was getting into this match somehow. So Becky Lynch comes out, begs Fit Finlay to go in Lana's place, and Fit Finlay says, okay, go in. The music goes, the crowd's going nuts, and that starts the whole storytelling from here on out. And back to the final 4. We have Bayley, we have Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. So Nia Jax eliminates Bayley, and Charlotte Flair throws Nia Jax over the rope. She lands on the apron. However, Becky Lynch pulls her from the apron, lands on it. So Nia Jax is now eliminated. We're down to 2, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch still outside after getting thrown through the middle rope earlier in this Rumble match. So she's walking up the stairs. Then Nia Jax pushes her off the stairs. She lands awkwardly and looks like she hurt her knee in this process. So, we're wondering, are they going to end this match how it is? Give Charlotte the win. That's what Corey Graves is saying. End this match. It's over. She can't go. Charlotte Flair wins. She's going to WrestleMania. But no, Becky Lynch gets into the ring, able to eliminate Charlotte Flair despite the knee injury and go on to WrestleMania. So great reaction from the crowd here. Awesome pop. Becky Lynch going to WrestleMania and most likely challenging Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 35. Most likely going to be the main event. I will be there. My brother Ralph will be there. Unbelievable. I can't wait. That's going to be the main event. Whether it is Becky and Ronda or Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte, it's definitely the main event. Unfortunately, because of this moment, the next match kind of suffered. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. The match went about 20 minutes, and there was some good in-ring work, but the crowd really were out of it because of all the excitement from the Women's Royal Rumble match finish. And we got a wild Eric Rowan appearance. This was really weird. He's been hurt since back in September, late August, early September. And he comes out very dressed how Daniel Bryan dresses in his casual wear with the flannel jacket and t-shirt and whatever. And he's staring at the ring for a while, but then after an enziguri miss on AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan kicks the ref by mistake. And when the ref is knocked out, Aaron Rowan comes in, choke slams AJ Styles. The ref wakes up. Daniel Bryan pins 1, 2, 3. It was very odd, and I'm wondering how this is going to be. Maybe Eric Rowan will start with Daniel Bryan some new like straight edge society with like a vegan philosophy. So I honestly, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, but only time will tell. And like I said, the in-ring work was good in this match. But the crowd was just so out of it. And it really showed in this match. The match was slow to begin with, but the fact that the crowd wasn't in it, it just felt even slower. It just never got into that gear to get the crowd back into it. But luckily, the next match after that really got going. We saw Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. This match went about 10 minutes, but it was fast-paced from the get-go. As soon as the bell rang, we see Finn Balor attack Brock Lesnar with a drop kick into the gut, going into the corner, really attacking him. Finn Balor looked really, really strong in this match. Lesnar throws Finn Balor outside, tries to set up Balor with a table, but in the process, Balor pushes Brock Lesnar into the table a couple times and hurts him in the midsection. And great call by Corey Graves here, where he brings up the diverticulitis that Brock Lesnar had a few years back when he was in UFC. So now this is the weak point that Balor keeps attacking. He keeps attacking the midsection, and eventually we get to the finish where Finn Balor puts the coup de grace onto Brock Lesnar, lands it, goes for the cover, 1, 2, and I honestly thought it was going to be a 3, but instead, Lesnar kicks out, grabs the arm, goes for the Kimura lock, and that ends the match right there. Lesnar taps Balor out and retains the Universal Championship. Now, what makes it so, there was a little bit of unnecessary attacks afterwards. So after Brock Lesnar won, he attacked Brock Lesnar and really laid him out. I guess the purpose is to make Lesnar look stronger after really looking weak throughout the match with the midsection injury. But it's Brock Lesnar. He doesn't need to do that with Finn Balor. It just makes Finn Balor look even worse, especially because it took a quick Kimura lock to win the match. But this was a great fast-paced match, one of the best matches of the night. But we move on to our main event, the Men's Royal Rumble match. We start off with Elias at number 1 and Jeff Jarrett, a surprise entrant, at number 2. Elias is trying to sing, but then gets interrupted by Jeff Jarrett. They tease a duet, but then Elias punches Jarrett in the face, hits him with a guitar, and eliminates him. We saw the same thing as in the women's match, where there weren't a lot of legends returning, but a lot of NXT call-ups in this match. We saw Johnny Gargano, we saw Aleister Black, we saw Pete Dunne, and there were more legends in this one, where we saw Kurt Angle, we saw Jeff Jarrett, but for the most part, the card was filled with main roster guys. The biggest surprise, though, was number 30, where R-Truth is coming out, about to do his rap, "What's Up?" And all of a sudden, Nia Jax attacks R-Truth, and R-Truth is knocked out, and Nia Jax enters in his spot. So Nia Jax becomes now the 4th woman ever to enter the Royal Rumble in the men's match, and she becomes the second ever to be in both the men's and the women's Royal Rumble. She's the first to do it in the same night. She actually ends up with an elimination and actually took 2 guys to eliminate her. So, she got RKO'd, she got 619'd. They really treated her like just a male superstar, and that was a pretty big moment there that Nia Jax was able to enter there. I don't know if that was the big moment that WrestleVotes was hinting at. I know a lot of people were talking about this tweet all over social media that something big was going to happen at the Royal Rumble. I don't know if that was it. And if it was, that could be a big letdown to what people were thinking. I know people were thinking, Kenny Omega. I was saying this for a long time that his contract was not up. He's not coming to the Royal Rumble, but yet people insisted that Kenny Omega was going to be at this Royal Rumble. Wasn't happening. So we don't get that. We do get our final 4 in this Royal Rumble, which were Andrade Cien Almas. We had Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, and Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph Ziggler had a big elimination where he eliminated Drew McIntyre in this match. And Andrade Cien Almas had a good run again. He had a good run last year in the Royal Rumble. He had a good run this year coming out of the 18 or 19 spot. Seth Rollins ends up being the Iron Man in this match, coming out of the number 10 spot, but he does have a lot of time on the outside after getting attacked by Bobby Lashley, going through a table, and Rollins is out for a while. Strowman was out for a while in this match because he was thrown to the outside. So there was a spot where we had Andrade Cien Almas and Ziggler as if they were the final 2, but then Strowman comes in, attacks both of them, eliminates Andrade Cien Almas, and then we see Seth Rollins come in. Ziggler and Rollins get flipped over the top rope where Strowman attacks Ziggler, eliminates him. Rollins is able to get back into the ring, and then eventually we see Seth Rollins curb stomp Braun Strowman off the apron and have Braun Strowman have his feet on the floor. We have our number 1 contender for a championship of his choosing. Seth Rollins wins the Men's Royal Rumble, and we all know where this is heading. It's going to be Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Overall, the pay-per-view was very good. A great start to the 2019 year. One of the better pay-per-views in a long time. I think all the matches lived up to the hype, with the exception of AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan was a little flat just because the crowd wasn't really into it. I thought if the crowd was into it, it might have picked up a notch, but you're doing that after Becky Lynch's win of the Women's Royal Rumble. The Women's Royal Rumble was a little slow in the beginning, but picked up once we got more of the main roster regulars into the match. The Men's Royal Rumble was very good. The only thing that I really noticed was the entrants were coming in a lot faster in the men's than they were in the women's, and I think that was more of a time constraint because by the time all the entrants came in, if they did 2 minutes, they would have been there till 1 o'clock in the morning. So I have no problems with the 2 winners, Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. I thought those are great picks to win each Rumble. I think it was fine that the men main evented. I thought the order of the matches was 100% perfect, with Becky and Asuka leading it off. Then you have the tag team match. Then you have Ronda and Sasha setting up the women's match. Once the women's match was done, you set up AJ and Daniel, because if you have AJ and Daniel after the women's match, or excuse me, Finn and Brock after there, I don't think the crowd would have been into it like they were in that match tonight. So I have no issues with how the card was set. Overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, this pay-per-view was an 8 out of 10 in my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you liked anything from the Royal Rumble 2019, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We are trying to get to 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling Double or Nothing. My name is Michael Valenti. Make sure you listen to our podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on the Squared Circle Psychobabble.